breaking news as we come on the air in the West. The ABC News exclusive interview with President Biden, the future of his campaign at stake. Tonight, George Stephanopoulos, one-on-one with the president, his first televised interview since his faltering debate performance against Donald Trump. The questions millions of Americans are asking: is he mentally fit to be president? And can he defeat Trump in November? What he's now saying about calls to drop out of the race. At a rally in Wisconsin earlier today, Biden insisting, "I am running and going to win again." George's full interview airing in primetime tonight. How will voters respond? And Rachel Scott with late reporting on the state of the race. Also on this Friday night, Tropical Storm Beryl now taking aim at the Texas coast. The storm slowing from a hurricane, now with winds up to 70 miles per hour. It could regain strength before making landfall, hitting with a life-threatening storm surge. Mireya Villarreal in Texas. The wildfire emergency in the West. New fires erupting in California. Firefighters battling triple-digit temperatures. 158 million Americans on alert for dangerous heat. Las Vegas possibly hitting an all-time high. Overseas tonight, the seismic shift in British politics. The new prime minister riding a Labour Party wave into office. Conservative lawmakers swept from power in a historic landslide. James Longman in London. Here in New York, new images of a deadly crash on the 4th of July. 3 people killed by a suspected drunk driver. Video appearing to show a truck speeding through an intersection moments before slamming into a crowd of people celebrating the holiday in a park. The chilling image of a woman attacked by a shark in Texas. Her husband bitten, trying to save her. The same shark apparently attacking 4 people in all. The new warning about sharks in the water. The July 4th misfire, fireworks launching into the crowd, multiple people hurt. And America Strong tonight, a new mother in desperate need, and the police officer going above and beyond.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. It's great to have you with us as we come on the air in the West. I'm Whit Johnson in for David. We begin tonight with the ABC News exclusive, a remarkable moment in this or any presidential campaign. President Biden's first televised interview following last week's debate against Donald Trump that sent Democrats into a panic, igniting concerns about his mental acuity and his ability to stay in the race and lead the country for a second term. ABC's George Stephanopoulos, one-on-one with the president in Wisconsin, the interview late today with the future of the campaign at stake. Earlier, President Biden speaking to supporters during a campaign event in Madison, acknowledging calls for him to drop out, but telling the crowd he is staying in the race and will beat Donald Trump again. The entire interview will air in full tonight here on ABC. You're about to hear part of that conversation. Here's George Stephanopoulos with President Biden.
Let's start with the debate. You and your team have said you had a bad night. But your friend Nancy Pelosi actually framed the question that I think is on the minds of millions of Americans. Was this a bad episode or the sign of a more serious condition?
It was a bad episode. No indication of any serious condition. I was exhausted. I didn't listen to my instincts in terms of preparing, and I had a bad night.
You know, you say you were exhausted, and I know you've said that before as well, but you came, and you did have a tough month, but you came home from Europe about 11 or 12 days before the debate, spent 6 days in Camp David. Why wasn't that enough rest time, enough recovery time?
Because I was sick. I was feeling terrible. Matter of fact, the docs with me, I asked if they did a COVID test because they were trying to figure out what was wrong. They did a test to see whether or not I had some infection, a virus. I didn't. They just had a really bad cold.
And did you ever watch the debate afterwards?
I don't think I did, no.
Well, what I want to get at is what were you experiencing as you were going through the debate? Did you know how badly it was going?
Yeah, look. The whole way I prepared, nobody's fault, mine. Nobody's fault but mine. I prepared what I usually would do, sitting down, as I did come back with foreign leaders or the National Security Council, for explicit detail. And I realized about partway through that, I get quoted, the New York Times had me down at 10 points before the debate, 9 now, or whatever the hell it is. The fact of the matter is that what I looked at is that he also lied 28 times. the way the debate ran, not my fault, no one else's fault. No one else's fault.
But it seemed like you were having trouble from the first question in, even before he spoke.
Well, I just had a bad night.
George also asking the president to address concerns about his mental fitness.
Let me ask you a tougher, more personal question. Are you sure you're being honest with yourself when you say you have the mental and physical capacity to serve another 4 years?
Yes, I am, because, George, the last thing I want to do is not be able to meet that. I think, as some of the senior economists and senior foreign policy specialists say, if I stop now, I'd go down in history as a pretty successful president. No one thought I could get done what we got done.
But are you being honest with yourself as well about your ability to defeat Donald Trump right now?
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
So much riding on tonight's interview. The stakes for President Biden and the Democratic Party could not be higher. I want to bring in ABC's Rachel Scott. And Rachel, amid all of this, you're learning another Democrat, this time a senator, is trying to organize a group to discuss Biden's path forward.
This is coming from Senator Mark Warner, who's the chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee, and he's trying to get a group of Democrats in the Senate together to discuss President Biden's path forward and whether he should step aside. We are told that privately, Senator Warner himself has raised concerns about whether President Biden is best suited to actually defeat Donald Trump this November. No Senate Democrat has publicly called on the president to step aside. Of course, Biden served in the Senate for 36 years. This is a sign that even some of his former colleagues have some serious doubts with.
And as you've noted, these next few days of the campaign will be critical. Rachel, thank you. Once again, George's exclusive interview with President Biden airs tonight at 8 p.m. in the West here on ABC. The interview will air in full. Again, that's tonight at 8. We do move on now to Tropical Storm Beryl, now taking aim at the Texas coast this weekend. The storm slowing from a hurricane, but still packing winds up to 70 miles per hour. Beryl then expected to make landfall as a hurricane again Sunday night, hitting with a life-threatening storm surge, up to 15 inches of rain and flash flooding. ABC's Mireya Villarreal is in Texas.
Tonight, Texas is bracing for Beryl after the Category 2 hurricane roared across Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula near Tulum with 110-mile-an-hour winds, knocking out power in resort and vacation communities. Officials in Texas are urging residents to get ready.
We need a prepared community, not a panicked community.
Beryl has killed 11 people and left a trail of destruction across the Caribbean. The now tropical storm turning the Gulf, where it will intensify and take aim at Texas Sunday night. It comes just 2 weeks after Tropical Storm Alberto slammed South Texas, flooding beach communities.
The water zips under the house, and that's the only way you can stop it.
So tonight, along the coast, they are filling up sandbags and boarding up all over again.
We definitely prepare for the worst, but we're praying for the best.
There are no evacuation orders in place as of right now for South Texas, but with so many people visiting beaches over the holiday weekend, officials are now warning that there is an increased risk for riptides all along the Gulf Coast from Texas all the way to Florida as this storm starts to approach.
Mireya, thank you. Let's get right to meteorologist Brittany Bell from our station WABC here in New York. And Brittany, you're tracking Beryl's path towards Texas and also the extreme heat across the U.S.
And Whit, I want to start with Beryl because it could impact parts of Texas as a hurricane starting late Sunday. Right now, Beryl is a tropical storm now arriving in the Gulf of Mexico. While it's in the Gulf, it will likely get stronger. This is why we already have a hurricane watch and a storm surge watch that includes portions of the coastline, that includes Corpus Christi. The latest track has it making landfall as a Category 1 hurricane on Monday with max sustained winds around 90 miles per hour. Now, as we move off to the west, record heat continues. We have these alerts just stretching all along the coastline, and records are in jeopardy, including an all-time record high of 117 degrees in Las Vegas. Whit?
Brittany, thanks. And those hot and dry conditions fueling a wildfire emergency in the west. The French fire erupting in central California near Yosemite National Park. Residents in the area forced to evacuate. Firefighters battling triple-digit temperatures. Here's ABC's Jaclyn Lee in California.
Tonight, firefighters battling wildfires and scorching temperatures in Northern California. More than 1,000 people evacuating Mariposa, north of Fresno. The French fire temporarily shutting down a main highway into Yosemite National Park. Outside Sacramento, the Thompson fire now 46% contained after close to 30,000 evacuations, 25 structures destroyed. Fire officials say 17 fires are actively blazing across the Golden State. More than 145,000 acres burned so far this year, 17 times more than this time last year.
Today is the day. It's the hottest day of the heat wave.
A historic heat wave also searing the West, 158 million people under heat alerts. Death Valley could clock a scalding 129 degrees, just 5 degrees shy of the hottest temperature ever recorded on Earth.
So what advice do you have for residents?
Well, we want to make sure that they're staying indoors between the hours of 10 and 3, stay hydrated and rested.
WIT officials say they have extra firefighters on hand given the extreme weather, and with the record heat, low humidity and wind, it increases the risk of large-scale fires. WIT.
A dangerous combination. All right, Jaclyn, thank you. Overseas tonight, the historic landslide victory changing the shape of British politics. A new prime minister moving into 10 Downing Street, riding the Labour Party wave into office. Conservative lawmakers swept from power in a monumental collapse. ABC's foreign correspondent James Longman in London.
A seismic shift in British politics tonight. 10 Downing Street with a new resident. Labour's Keir Starmer, now British Prime Minister, defeating the Conservative Party in a historic landslide.
We did it!
Winning a staggering 412 of the 650-seat parliament. The changeover in the UK immediate. Today, Rishi Sunak offering his concession speech.
I am sorry. I have given this job my all.
Starmer then heading to the palace, where the King asked him to form a new government. He's Britain's 58th Prime Minister and Charles's third.
The work of change begins immediately.
Starmer, a former public prosecutor, vowing to rebuild Britain and its working class. After 14 years of Conservative rule, which saw the party torn apart by Brexit and a slew of failed leaders, the party was dealt a crushing blow. It's the biggest loss in their nearly 200-year history. Former Prime Minister Liz Truss among major party figures to lose their seats.
And WIT President Biden has now congratulated Keir Starmer. And in the rest of Europe, with the far right making major electoral gains, this election makes the UK a more valuable ally to the Biden administration. Keir Starmer will meet with President Biden at next week's NATO summit. WIT.
James Longman for us. Thank you. Here in New York, new images emerging of a deadly crash on the 4th of July. A suspected drunk driver accused of killing 3 people. Video appearing to show a truck speeding through an intersection moments before slamming into a crowd of people celebrating the holiday in a park. Here's ABC's Trevor Ault.
Tonight, a suspected drunk driver facing multiple charges after police say he plowed into a New York City 4th of July crowd, killing at least 3 and injuring 7.
It was like a big boom. Everybody thought it was gunshots, but it wasn't. That's how the impact was.
New surveillance video obtained by our station WABC appears to show the pickup truck speeding through an intersection Thursday evening, crashing into a park in the Lower East Side of Manhattan.
Once he did that hard right turn, so many people started screaming.
Video from the scene shows the truck partially resting on bleachers, a table flipped over. First responders finding 4 victims pinned under the truck. 59-year-old Lucille Pinckney and her 38-year-old son Herman, both killed, along with another woman in her 40s who has not yet been identified, and an 11-year-old boy among the injured. Diamond Pinckney now mourning the loss of his mother and brother.
I come from a very hard-working family, and my mom was like definition of hard worker.
Authorities say 44-year-old Daniel Hayden of New Jersey was behind the wheel. Residents restraining him at the scene until police arrived.
WIT police say a preliminary investigation shows alcohol was involved in this crash, and WABC reports this driver works as a substance abuse counselor and had previously written a book about living with addiction. WIT.
Trevor Ault, thank you. Now to the frightening shark attack in Texas. One shark injuring 4 different people. The chilling image showing a woman who was attacked, her husband also bitten, trying to save her. Here's ABC's Morgan Norwood.
Tonight, patrols on the water and in the air along South Padre Island, Texas. After this terrifying scene, a shark seen thrashing in shallow water. Authorities believe it's the same shark that bit 2 swimmers, including Rainer Cardina's son-in-law.
He jumped up out of the water saying, "Shark, shark, shark," and that's when adrenaline kicked in. I went right after him.
Rescuers dragging Tabitha Sullivan out of the water.
That shark stayed right there and just circled.
Sullivan's daughter says her mom is in stable condition. Her father was bitten too while fighting off the shark. A fourth person also grazed. It's just the latest in a string of shark encounters. Surfer Tomayo Perry killed by a shark in Hawaii, and another man bitten just yesterday in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. Experts say sometimes sharks are just chasing bait fish in shallow water.
These sharks are feeding extremely close to shore, and with so many people in the water, the potential for these kinds of mistakes can happen.
And with on a GoFundMe page set up for the family, Tabitha Sullivan says she lost her left calf from that shark bite. She also says she'll likely lose full mobility in that leg too.
All right, Morgan Norwood, our thanks to you tonight. When we come back, chaos in Utah. Several people injured after stray fireworks land in the stands of a crowded stadium. And the recall impacting nearly 1 million power adapters for a popular sleep device. Next tonight, terrifying moments during an annual 4th of July celebration in Provo, Utah. Police say that several people were injured after fireworks misfired, landing in the stands of a crowded football stadium. At least 6 people rushed to the hospital, but everyone is expected to recover. The show resuming after a brief delay. Now to the nation's economy and the new jobs report. U.S. employers added 206,000 jobs in June. That's more than economists expected, but there are signs of a slowdown with unemployment ticking up to 4.1%. That's the highest level since November of 2021. Still ahead, why a company is recalling nearly 1 million power adapters sold with a popular sound machine. To the index now, the popular sleep device maker Hatch is recalling nearly 1 million power adapters. This is all because of an electrical shock hazard. They're sold with Rest first generation sound machines. The company says it has received 19 reports of the plastic housing coming off, including 2 reports of users experiencing a minor electrical shock. More information on our website. And a spectacular eruption from Italy's Mount Etna. Drone footage here capturing hot ash and lava spewing from the volcano. That ash temporarily shutting down the airport. Mount Etna is one of the world's most active volcanoes. When we come back, America Strong, the police officer going above and beyond to help a young mother in desperate need. Finally tonight, America Strong, the police officer answering the desperate call of a new mother in need of help.
It started as a 2 a.m. emergency call to the Miami Township, Ohio police station. Corporal Hunter Willoughby on his normal overnight shift responding to a postpartum mom struggling to breastfeed her week-old infant in desperate need of formula.
She was pretty frantic. She had been driving around, was unable to locate any businesses that were open.
Corporal Willoughby jumping into action, driving to a local supermarket which was closed at the time. His body camera capturing it all. Shining his flashlight until an overnight employee notices.
One mighty bright light you got there.
There is a mom who she said her milk dried up and she can't find anywhere to buy formula. I'll buy it for her.
Corporal Willoughby pondering the different options.
What the heck's the difference?
The manager reminding him.
She had a bottle.
Good thinking.
Willoughby choosing bottles and then buying the items with his own money before rushing back to the mom and baby.
I met her and the baby on the front porch. She was very appreciative, being able to feed her 1 week old, which she told me had been screaming for hours. I saw the relief over her face. It was just instant relief.
While the body camera video has gone viral, Willoughby, an 8-year veteran of the force and himself a father of 2, insisting it's all just part of the job.
I was the one that was put in that situation, but I really do believe that if just about, anyone in our department received that phone call, it would have been handled a similar way.
Going above and beyond. Thanks so much for watching tonight. A reminder, the ABC News exclusive interview with President Biden tonight at 8 Pacific right here on ABC. I'm Wade Johnson in New York. Have a great night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.